Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of Franchising with Fasa. Joining us today is Paul Stevens, who is the CEO of the Just Property Group. Paul Stevens has been the CEO of Just Property Group Holdings since 2013, which controls an international group of property franchises specializing in residential sales, rentals, and management. Paul joined as a franchisee in 2003 and now as the CEO drives the strategic direction of the Just Property brand. Paul is also actively involved in the evolution of the South African property landscape, working closely with high-level industry stakeholders. Paul is motivated by the power of property to create both monetary and experiential wealth and is driven to see transformation at work in the property sector. Paul has a BA psychology degree and is a certified master practitioner in real estate. Under Paul's leadership, the various Just Property Group brand has been consolidated and the company is now known simply as Just Property. The rebrand hailed the beginnings of a new company culture driven strongly by the articulation of 9 core company values, which Paul spearheaded. Today, 113 Just Property franchisees independently own and operate in 83 locations across South Africa. Thank you, Paul, for joining us.
Thank you, Romany. It's great to be with you this morning.
Good. And I just want to say hello and a welcome again to everyone out there. Grab a cup of coffee, and in a moment, we'll be chatting with Paul about the future trends that will impact the franchise industry both locally and internationally in 2021 and beyond. And we're back. So hello again to everyone. Please, to remind you to please like and share with anyone who's interested in property and anyone who's interested in franchise opportunities. So thank you, Paul, and let's get started. So, Paul, what trends are you seeing both locally and internationally that you think will have an impact on franchising in 2021 and beyond?
Yeah, Romany, I think we've come through a very interesting time, having had the pandemic and COVID lockdown, which has certainly sparked a little bit of a different momentum. But even prior to this, I think one of the biggest moves we've seen in business, if you look at the biggest business in the world currently, is Jeff Bezos's Amazon. And this trend of online shopping and people purchasing things from foods to clothing to automotive, it's something that there's just this big national trend, not just national, international trend of people purchasing goods online. And, if we look at our business concept, which is franchising, we haven't quite seen that in the online space because online business is platform business. But I think stemming off this, we're going to certainly start seeing peripheral businesses that are going to stem from it. If we look at the fast food area, which is a big franchising sector in particular, and the peripheral business around that in the online space, deliveries, where home deliveries, they were there prior to COVID, and they certainly have just been further and further re-entrenched since the lockdown and the onset of COVID. So if we look at things like Mr. Delivery, if we look at even Uber Eats, which has become a massive thing, it's not in the franchising sector, but I think we certainly are going to see more development of these type of businesses stemming, warehousing. Again, that's normally multiple landlords, but I think we're going to see this start to stem into franchising as we've started seeing with storage and things like that, where franchise concepts have started moving into self-storage spaces. Beyond that, if we look at very traditional businesses, retail has been something that certainly has been shaken up, I think, to a huge extent with the lockdown, where our typical retail businesses in the franchise sector, fast food, had absolutely a hammering during lockdown because retail centres were closed other than the big shops that were providing food, the grocery stores. So those type of businesses, I think, are certainly going to see somewhat of a change, although because of the retail environment. We're going to find, as is what happened in America, a lot of retail outlets are closing down, making room for whether it's residential or warehousing. They're having to adapt their model, and with that, you're going to see out-of-home sectors and franchising start to have to adapt the model. I mean, we just look at fast food. I think it's a common example because it's one of the biggest parts of franchising, and even in that, we've seen changes. I mean, South Africa has very much never really been a coffee society, and if we look at over the last 5-10 years, we've into very much a coffee society where people are stopping at coffee shops, people are stopping to purchase coffees. We look at the rise of Seattle's and Mug and Beans and Vida cafes with their outlets in garages. I think that certainly we're going to see more and more move towards that. And while in the food sector, again, we look at things like veganism, which is suddenly becoming a massive trend, not just amongst millennials, but I think people in general wanting to live healthier lives. And generally, franchising in the food sector has been very much something that's always perceived to be somewhat unhealthy. Whereas veganism's on the rise, very much as a big thing in places like Cape Town and Joburg, the bigger centres. But we're going to see that move into the franchising sectors. Lots of opportunities are in those particular sectors. And thank goodness in our sector, we provide something that basic necessity is a home where people live, and where people bring up their families, and there's always a home you need. So franchising in our sector is, I think, going to continue to grow, because it's a proven model, and coming through scenarios such as the lockdown period where we were all quite concerned as to how we were going to make it through this time, we've come through robust and strong, and probably stronger than we were before. So yeah, franchising is definitely a great business model.
Well, I tell you, I'm a lover of online shopping. I do it when I'm in the UK, and I'm definitely one of those Amazon and eBay shoppers where I buy everything online. In actual fact, I do my grocery shopping online. So when I come to South Africa, it's like, okay, where's the online shopping? So it was quite nice to see how many companies quickly got on board and started doing home deliveries. We found great companies that did bakeries and groceries and food deliveries. And what I found interesting is overseas, whereas Mr. Delivery here was very popular before, like you say, COVID, whereas overseas, you couldn't find really the Mr. Deliveries over there. So it'd be interesting, I haven't been there, to see how that's transpired overseas, because it's almost like we had Mr. Delivery here, they didn't over there. They had online shopping over there, but we didn't have it over here. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting to see how that will progress, and I think we will see more and more. I'm waiting for the drones. One day you're going to open your door and there's going to be a drone delivering your parcel.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting place. I think it's UPS that are already very much in that drone space and testing it. So, and Amazon has been the big one to say that they've got the drones developed. So I think that's imminent. It's coming.
Yes, it's definitely coming. The world of robots and yeah, it's going to be a very different world in the next few years. I'm beginning to see a lot of sci-fi movies in front of me. They're now becoming reality. Okay, so what threats and opportunities in the franchising model do you see, and how do you think they need to be responded to?
In business, there's always threats, there's always opportunities, and I think on the back of our mentioning COVID, I think we've got to look at what we've come through to look for the signs of where is industry at large moving, where are our particular sectors moving. And I think what I'm seeing in our franchise chain, and I do believe it's something that's happening across industries. I grew up on a farm, and I've watched agriculture from a young child and how that progressed, where agriculture, you used to own a farm and it was one farm and it was sustainable and a farmer could do very well on one farm. Those days have changed, and you've got the thing called the mega board, which is very much what's happening now. For a farmer to be sustainable and to have something that's a workable business, he's had to buy multiple farms around him, consolidate operations, and he runs a massive big territory. And I think we're finding this across business. In just our franchise group, I'm seeing the trend of our franchisees buying up the territories and the franchisees around them. They're consolidating certain functions. So it's just creating efficiencies in your business model. And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more and more. The word that's thrown around a lot is platform type of businesses. So it's an IT backing, being able to run a massive territory or a massive business off that. I think beyond that, we've got the economy. That's, I think, one of the biggest threats that we face at the moment. It's not just in South Africa. People tend to throw South Africa under the bus and think it's doom and gloom here. This is a worldwide thing. The whole world's been hit by COVID. We're in a recession again. Where our economy is going, none of us can predict, but it's not looking great. So I think as businesses, they're going to battle. They've learned how to tighten their belts. So those of us that have come through this, I think, have adapted. And I think as South Africans, we certainly have that resilience, and we'll pull through this, and we'll pull through this, I think, very, very well. Those that can make it through a time like this are certainly entrenched and will be here for many, many years to come. So I think on the other side of the economy is politics, and that's very much in reference to South Africa, where I think it's a great threat here in South Africa at the moment. Our weak political climate and the problems that we're currently facing with all the corruption. There's a lot of South Africans that are very, very negative at the moment, unfortunately, and they're not investing money back in business. And this is the reality. And I think for those of us that are passionate, I'm a true South African at heart. I'm passionate about our country. And yes, I'm certainly investing and confident in the country. Not so much in the short term, but I think give us another 2-3 years, and hopefully we've ironed out some of our politics, and the economy can start gaining some steam again. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those of us that are willing to stick this out, make the right decisions from a business perspective. And again, coming back to franchising, it's a proven model. If we look at the world over and the stats, I can't throw those figures out there, but the number of failures in businesses, and if you had to pull those figures that you hear very often thrown around, the amount of successful businesses after 5 years and into 10 years, and the percentage of those that are generally franchises because of their proven concept, I think this is a very big thing for people to focus on. There's solid businesses that are going to carry them through for years to come.
I share your sentiments about I love South Africa. I'm a South African through my heart. And I'm also, I've got opportunity to live overseas, and yet I keep wanting to come back over here. And I do believe that we are very resilient. I think we will get through it. We seem to adapt really quickly when we need to. And I agree with the current world situation economically. The world system is high debt. It's across the world. There's even talk about a reset, so we don't know what that means and what that looks like. But yeah, I'm all for staying on this side of the continent. I always think we're safer over here somehow.
We live in a beautiful country, and
we do.
As your topic was opportunity, I think there's boundless opportunities in South Africa still to come.
I think so. And in every downturn, it's said over and over again, in every downturn, there are plenty of opportunities. You just have to look for those opportunities or embrace them as you see them come. So Eva's saying it's a little bit echoey. I hope that's stopped right. I hope that's cleared out. And Mufani is asking, where can I get education on franchising? So I'm just saying, Mufani, there's plenty of places. A lot of franchise businesses do offer training within their companies. So you might want to have a look at that. And then there are some training portals which I'll send to you after this meeting. So the next question I have for you, Paul, is franchisees usually opt to join a brand because it offers a business in a box. How do you leverage the strength of the franchise ways of working, but still give entrepreneurs the space to apply their own strengths, both within the immediate businesses and across the franchise network?
Yeah, I think, Romany, the franchise in a box concept is very sort of loosely thrown around. And I think people generally have the misconception that franchising is very much a business in a box. And to a certain extent it is, but on the other hand, I'm making reference to our type of industry, and it's not. So if we take generally, when I've made reference to it a couple of times this morning about fast food, because I think that's probably one of the biggest sectors in franchising. And that is very much a model that's a franchise business in a box, where right from the onset, from how you dress your people to the burger patties that are delivered to the price that you charge, everything is given to you and dictated upon you and controlled in a very formatted manner. It's very well packaged. Whereas, we're in the service industry on our side, and there's many other industries similar with franchising concepts. And we allow a certain amount of flexibility. We really need true entrepreneurs in our businesses, where their flair and their ability to act as an entrepreneur comes in. So when it comes down to pricing structures, because we're delivering a service, prices are negotiated and certain things are negotiated upon. And that's where I believe there is a little bit of a middle mix. It's not just an inner box business concept. You're always going to have that model within certain types of franchising, but others that give a little bit of leeway and allow their business owners or business partners as franchisees to have that flexibility and to grow in the manner that they see fit with their personal trait and strengths coming out of the business model. That being said, there's no right or wrong. I believe that both work well, but most important is as long as there's consistency in the brand and that unique selling proposition, and that the clients are experiencing a similar trend across the different units that you've got across the country. I think that's one of the most important things.
And I also think it's what you put in is what you get out, because yes, like you say, it's like people have this idea it's business in a box, but you yourself, when you take on your own franchise business as a franchisee, you have to put the effort in, you have to put the time in, you have to work within your business to also make it a success. You can't just depend on the franchisor to do everything for you.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things for people that aren't a franchisee yet, that are wanting to step into the arena, is to realize that it's up to you. This is not something that a franchisor is going to run for you. They're going to give you a guideline and they're going to give you a model to go and run. But the success of a franchise model is very much based on that true entrepreneurship. You've got to go out there, you've got to drive it, you've got to guide it, you've got to work at it day after day, and success is imminent if you do that, if you follow the principle. And I think that's the important thing. Franchising gives you those principles, and if you work according to those principles, success is imminent.
So let's talk a little bit about Just Property. What type of person suits the business? What is the opportunity? Just give us a bit of an overview, the training that you offer. How does that all work?
I think one of the most important aspects in our industry, we being a service industry, we're dealing with people. So, internally, if you have a Just Property franchise, your people are typically your agents and your admin staff. Our business model is multiple in that we look at our core of our business is rental management. That's what we built our previous brand Just Letting on. We're the biggest rental property management company in the residential side of things in the country, and we've built a very solid foundation with the annuity income that comes in from that. So you're dealing with people each and every day. And I think that is, not just your staff are then dealing with clients, customers. I think one of the most important things is to be very much human-centric, people-centric. You've got to be somebody that understands and can work with people. And I think that's probably the core of it. Yes, there's certain other personality traits that we'll try and pick up when we do a personality test with prospective franchisees. But I'd say being a people person is one of the cores, and somebody that's willing to go out there and work. I think we all look for that wonderful business that we can slot into and that's going to run itself. And yes, you get that. And I think franchising does offer that because of the systems that it allows. And we've got some franchisees that own multiple outlets, live far away from those outlets, and they run successfully because they've got systems in place. But they've had to work very hard to get there. And I think that's one of the most important things. Nothing in life comes easy. We've got to put some time in.
Yeah, time and effort. Well, that brings us to almost again. I just want to remind everyone again to please like and share this with someone who is interested in property or is interested in franchise opportunities. And yes, just to remind you that we have popped a link in the comment box below so that if you want to get hold of Paul or any of his team at Just Property, that you can just click on that link and then fill in the message, send them an email and let them know and get in touch with them. And just to remind you in closing that Fasa is a non-profit organization that protects, lobbies and promotes ethical franchising across all sectors within South Africa with a focus on transformation. Fasa offers membership to both existing franchisors and franchisees who supports and runs ethical businesses. If you want to know more about Fasa, please visit them at www.fasa.co.za. So thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you, Paul, for joining us today.
Romany, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity, and it was great to be with you this morning.
Excellent. And thank you, everybody, and have a super week forward, whatever it is you're doing.